Hi, and welcome to the NFFL Week 8 recap. Sorry it's a little later this week. I've been pretty busy doing some stuff, but I'm still getting out to you, and you will have a preview in either video or written form before Sunday's game as well. So don't be worried about that. So basically, we had our last week of the non-divisional games in NFFL, and the two divisions split the series, or the games this week, 3-3. Overall, the Landry division won the series by a margin of 12-6, at least temporarily shutting up the Lombardi division. I'm not sure you could ever truly shut me up more than temporarily. I just love to run my mouth. But in any event, let's move on to the games here. First up, we had Eskimo Brothers at Weapon X. What weak-ass performances by both teams. I really thought both teams were going to score 30 or 40 more points this week. They just couldn't find the end zone. Some of the players did put up some decent yardage, um, but they just couldn't find the end zone. This match came down to Monday night where I needed less than 5 from Schaub, and I was actually really sweating it because I needed more than 5 at halftime. And 5 points from your quarterback isn't a whole lot. It's just 125 yards, passing and not any turnovers or touchdowns. You think that's pretty much a gimme, but yeah, Indy's defense Monday night. Monday night home teams tend to play pretty well, so. Um, I wasn't surprised to see Schaub struggle a little bit in that match. But he did get his touchdown to Johnson, so I ended up pulling out the win over Wes. I also got lucky. Once again, I'm getting some pretty good luck in my matchups. I got screwed by CBS, but it worked out to my favor. I didn't complain about it because it's one of those things where it's like no proof. You're wording it someone else's, in this case CBS. So I didn't see any justification in trying to fix something when it's just going off of my word. But I put a claim on Dallas's defense, and I had a higher waiver priority than Height did, and somehow Height got him. I don't really understand how that works out. But it worked out to my advantage because had I had Dallas's defense in, I would have lost. So I got to play Tampa Bay on a hunch, given they were playing the terrible Cardinals, and it worked out very well. So that's kind of how that match went down. Next up, we have Team Hasselhoff at Motor City Freshness. Basically, this is where Stafford and Sims Walker kind of went off for Matt. And had he had any help whatsoever, he probably would have taken out a win because they combined for like 50 points together, just the two of them. But no one did anything for him. So he had a mid-70s score, and Motor City Freshness, or Dougie, had AP and Lloyd carry the team. And the fantasy special teams did well enough to get the win. And so Doug wins this match there. Fear of Heights at Icon City Excitement. This was another Monday night finish where Height needed Andre Johnson and Owen Daniels to combine for 22 points going up against the Colts. And Andre did his part. He put up almost 17 points, so Daniels just needed literally like 60 yards receiving or something, but he did nothing. And Turco pulls out the win. He's sitting at 3-5 now. He's only 2 games back of the last playoff spot. It's a pretty tight division over there. So it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. Height got the other end of the luck spectrum because CBS gave him Dallas, and had he had Tampa Bay, he would have won. And he did say he was going to pick up Tampa Bay if he didn't get Dallas. So a little bit of bad luck there for Mr. Height. Here we have the Oracle at Team Hasselhoff, and basically all you gotta do here is just say wow. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't Team Hasselhoff. It was Ninja Turtles. Chris went off, and his team finally played in a manner that is capable of playing. On the other side, Andrew's team, I think they thought they had a bye week. I'm not really sure. They didn't put up like any points at all. No players in double digits, and had his worst output of the year. So Andrew's now one game back of a Landry playoff spot, but he did make a trade this week to shore up a weak spot on his team. So I think that Doug and Logan need to watch out for Mr. James there, and also Height, Dan, and Matt better watch out for Chris because he's coming. And you may ask, well, Brian, don't you have to look out? And no, I don't, because I have the best team ever. So no, I don't. Moving on, we have Team Acme at newly named WTF. Both teams had ridiculously bad performances from their fantasy special teams, with Dan getting 7.8 and Logan getting 5.7. That's going to crush your scores pretty much always. But Dan still put up some good points, about 76 points from the rest of his team. So that's going to be enough to get him to win this week because Logan basically had everyone on a bye. So I think most people were kind of expecting him to get the loss there. Final match here was Scrubs at Hurricane Ditka. This is the third game this week that came down to Monday Night Football, so that's kind of cool. Basically, Peyton threw the 2 touchdowns, but neither of them went to Gonzalez or Garcon, so Bill came up agonizingly short. And Britt was injured for Hurricane Ditka, which is, a pretty tough loss for him, but he's not out for the year. I don't know how Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, whatever the hell his name is, did well for Bill, but he somehow did. And that's that. A couple trades this week I want to go over quickly. First off, we had Chris receiving Vernon Davis and Bill receiving Pettigrew, Reggie Bush, and Steve Johnson. I think this is a win-win for both teams. Chris gets an upgrade to his squad for this year and next year because Vernon Davis is a Tier 2 keeper, which would allow him to use the appropriate Tier 3 slot for McFadden if he so chooses. He's got some options, but anytime you can keep McFadden as a Tier 3, that's going to be a pretty good situation. Bill should be playing for next year while simultaneously still trying to be competitive this year. And I think he did just that with this trade. And he got 3 reasonable players that can help him, especially since Pierre Thomas might not return this year. Steve Johnson is a Tier 3 keeper, so I think that helps Bill going forward as well. So I can't believe this, but I actually agree with a trade that Chris made. No fucking way, but it happened. The other one was Andrew receiving Ben Roethlisberger and Height receiving Johnny Knox and Ryan Matthews. It was a huge win for Andrew, obviously. He didn't have to trade any starters to get a startable quarterback to replace Romo. So that's huge for his team, and he might be able to make a playoff push here. So on the other side, we have Height getting some receiver help with Moss, who knows what's going on with Moss. And he still has Flacco, but I do think he needs to get a good backup. I don't know if you can trust your team and your playoff hopes to Joe Flacco without having some kind of insurance. But it's just kind of me and the way I roll. A lot of times I've been burned too many times in the past by a team that is absolutely loaded with starters that had no depth, and as soon as I had a couple injuries, my team was ruined for the year. I've learned my lesson. You've got to have depth. It doesn't help you each week as far as total points scored, but yeah, it's football, man. People get hurt. You got to prepare for that. So he needs to get another quarterback without question. And he got a little bit of depth with Ryan Matthews. Not a huge Matthews fan. I think that Tolbert is getting the decent carries and always getting the goal line carries, which hurts Matthews owners. But I do like Johnny Knox. I think he's a good number 3 receiver. So Height was hurting there a little bit and got some help. So I think it benefited both teams, but I do think that Height might have been able to get a little bit more for Big Ben given the situation Andrew was in. But still a good trade. So now we're back to divisional games for the home stretch. 5 games remaining, starting with our mini rivalry games. And so should be an exciting week and everything. And first up, I'm just going to say Height. Time to extend my lead in the division, buddy. Easy win. Take care, guys.